Okay, so this is a video I'm gonna try to explain. I'm not an expert or anything. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this whole idea of demons, angels, the fallen angels, and how all this comes together with everything that even when I was in the New Age and had learned some things. Some of that carries over to what's the biblical part. So let me see if I can try to put this together in a coherent type uh, message. Now, um, I believe there was a pre-Adamic race. There's others that talk about it. Tim Alderino, Ali Marzulli, some other people that talk about the pre-Adamic race. And the reason I think that that's kind of where the demons originated from is because there was there was influences that were on the people in the days of Noah before the giants and all that came on the surface too. Um, and that the reason I think of that is because in Genesis 1 verses 1 through 3 it says, "In the beginning God created the heaven and earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." In verse 3 it says, "And God said, let there be light, and there was light." And verse 4, "And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness." So there's like a quality of good in light. So obviously there was like, because why did it say, this is the King James version, and it says that it was good. So there's obviously some type of quality between light and dark. And I think this is kind of where also Satan's rebellion must have happened, because uh, there was, with that rebellion, that's what created the darkness part of it. And I can't really go too much into that because I'm not too sure exactly, but God said, because where was I going with this? Okay, so because Genesis 3:15 talks about the enmity with the serpent, and it says, "I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise thy heel." So that is what created this whole the seed of Adam, and then the seed of the serpent, and that was caused the break between good and evil. Um, Man, I lost my mind on what I was my point I was trying to make. Earth was without form and voidness. God moved upon the face of the waters. So my point is on the demon's origin. Yes, the uh, because see that there was demons that were causing. There must have been demons that were causing uh, people to stray from God in order to get to the point, because there was all this stuff going on. So because there's some talk that the Nephilim, that the spirits, that the disembodied spirits were from the flood. But if that's the case, then why was there issues before the flood? So there must have been a pre-Adamic race that was present, and those disembodied spirits is what caused the people to sin, um, in right before, before the flood, which caused all the Sodom and Gomorrah and all that stuff to happen too. Um, so, and in the book of Enoch, it talks about those 200 fallen angels. Shemiaza was one, and those one he was one of the angels that gave us technology um, and I believe that was what caused the technology, um, of creating the chimeras and stuff, uh, back then, and and which also kind of goes. I'm kind of going into another tangent with. I was learning about like marine spirits, and I guess they're a pretty big part of the kingdom of darkness, um, and I'm thinking that the marine spirits were kind of that is kind of what's going on with after the flood. All these disembodied spirits, uh, you know, they stayed in the waters, but they're also affecting us now from the marine kingdom. As you know, it's and that's what kind of causes, with the marine spirits. You get your spiritual spouses, your spiritual husbands. Um, you get the squid spirits, octopus spirits, and all that. And even some of the serpent spirits are from the marine kingdom, and I believe that also. And I'm kind of going off. I'm going to try to just put this together, but it goes into the admiralty. Why we have the marine admiralty, the maritime admiralty law, in all of it, because they wanted to usurp the dominion over land that we had through the seed of Adam. So and that's why all our laws are based on the admiralty law, which controls all the finances. The marine kingdom controls a lot of the finances, and that's why you see a lot of politicians, governments, nations. They do. This is kind of going off, but they do like sacrificial. They have altars and stuff, and that's why they have all the power. Is because they control all the finances. Um, and so the Nephilim and the Rephilim, they all talk about. I think they all relate. That's how they all kind of relate together. Um, and and I'll go back to Genesis 6, where it says, "And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." And then it says in verse 8a, God called the firmament heaven. And I believe that's where we have, because you have a first, second, and third heaven. Third heaven is where God and his throne is at. Second heaven is where the rulers, the principalities, all the spiritual forces of darkness. It says in Ephesians 6:12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So that's the second heaven. First heaven is our earth, our stars, our sky, our atmosphere, all that. All this is first heaven, where we live here, and they use another vault is another word for firmament also, in some of the other versions of the Bible. But how I think how that ties in, so that kind of ties in, get me think that, they're, let me see, first and second. I'm sorry, I'm over here just all over the place here. I thought I was a little bit more prepared on this. But okay, so Genesis 2:28 says, "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, and be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it." So when it says replenish the earth, that's telling me that there was something on this planet before, and then it says to replenish the earth, because the verse right before that talks about how God created man and woman, and in his own image. So earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And in Exodus 24, it says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the earth beneath, or that is underneath the water of the earth." So it's saying right there that so it's saying not to create any image or likeness of anything that is in the earth. So it's saying that there could be things underneath the water, underneath the earth, and in the earth. So maybe that's kind of like where this whole like the reptilians or what are they, the underworld, Shambhala, Sheol, whatever down there, these creatures that are underneath the earth that may have survived through the flood. So I hope I'm making sense. I think I'm kind of just babbling off on a bunch of things, but I thought I had to kind of put it a little bit better than this. But with the firmament, it kind of, with the firmament, that kind of throws the whole thing about, like them doing the fake space thing, because if there's if the so if there's waters above the earth, that separates us for, so the sky being blue, is that actually water, and the stars are, and in the book of Enoch it talks about the stars that are up in the earth are like angels or sons of God, which the different, I've heard of different explanations of that being like, it could be angels or something like that, or some type of thing that God had put place, and they will not stray from their path or something like that. But anyways, how I think that's why it kind of ties in with, okay, well then you hear about all these UFOs coming out of the water, out of the ocean, out of underground. That gets me kind of thinking, like, is these UFOs and UAPs, are they in because of the fallen technology, the angel technology that that was in the book of Enoch. It talks about how the fallen angels exchanged technology for the right to marry the women and stuff, to give them something for that. And so I'm thinking that connection can be made too. And then I started learning about Jack Parsons and Aleister Crowley, how they did this Babylon working ritual, and basically that kind of opened up portals, and that got even more access to technology, which I think is how we got man-made UAPs, and maybe fallen angel UAPs that they think are kind of like the aliens, the Greys, reptilians, the Nordics, and all that. I don't believe they're demons. I don't believe that. I think they are demonic as far as the way that they act, but I don't think they're demons, just because of a lot of these Greys are kind of like clones. They something with their DNA manipulation, and the reptilians seem to be kind of like a cross between a human and a reptile. So that's almost like some type of cloning or DNA hybridization. But I think they're all seeds of the serpent in some way. The chimeras, they're all seeds of the serpent, but they're not actual demons. They are from the dark kingdom. And in Daniel 2:42 to 43. Let me go to that one. Daniel Daniel 2. I'm sorry, let me just real quickly. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So that right there, the seed, it's almost like that's the whole hybrid connection there. So that's kind of where I'm thinking the whole we get, they're trying to cleave, and that's what this whole thing is about revelation and judgment. You know, Jesus didn't come. He didn't come to condemn us. He came to save us. So I believe this whole revelation thing is a judgment on the fallen angels, a judgment on Satan and all the dark kingdom, and but okay, so there's other dimensions. I think extra dimensional creatures. And I think that's where we get like the fairies, the gnomes, the elementals, could possibly be from the second dimension, and we're in the third dimension. Um, I've heard somewhere there's 7 dimensions. I'm not really sure about that. But these extra dimensional creatures like Sasquatch, I heard there's like a spider queen or something and that's kind of where you get a lot of, like, you get that spiders on Mars. That's kind of like, I think that kind of ties. That's kind of what ties into what you just see as far as different creatures that can teleport in and out of different dimensions. Now I don't know, and then I don't know. I'm still trying to piece. Okay, and now the secret societies like the Illuminati, the Freemasons, celebrities. I know life is spiritual, and all this stuff is built on altars and covenants. There's the altars and covenants in the Bible that God made with Abraham, but there's altars that are hijacked and are false, that are for Satan and the dark kingdom. And a lot of these celebrities, these governments, they all go in and they create contracts, create blood covenants, sacrifices, in order to get their agendas done, which ultimately moves us to the book of Revelation, the prophecies of Ezekiel, Daniel, Micah, Jude, all them about the end times. And basically, to put this all together, everything is the spiritual warfare that we're going through, is all part of this struggle between the demons, angels, and with God, basically. And one other thing I was going to say is, like, on that one verse of Genesis 2, it says, "And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." I think that's when he created Leviathan and Behemoth. That's the marine creatures that are in the end times, which basically are part of the beast. Now, I don't know. I think I don't know if any of this makes sense. This is kind of just what I'm putting together now. Like, this is kind of how, like, where it's kind of coming in my head. So, because I don't think everything that I was involved with, or what I've learned through my whole journey through, like, New Age to being saved and being with Jesus, and believer in Jesus, I believe that it all still there's still a relative part of it that's truthful, because I'm just trying to kind of get, like, the whole picture and put it together in a way that I can kind of just get that aha understanding of it, like, whoa, like, but within the chapter of Genesis, through verses, basically, like within the first chapter, you get a lot of understanding. Now, obviously, if you're looking more into, like, the Septuagint and some of these other, that when you start learning more about the Hebrew part of it, I think it's kinds of makes sense, because some of these words mean a little bit more than what the English puts down as far as like deeper meaning. Now, when I had that near-death experience type, or that vision, when I was I know that the book, the Living Word, when I was there, verses and words were coming right out of the book, literally like floating in the air and coming out. And so and what I've learned is there's layers to all these meanings, you know. Like you get the layer that you see of just like what it's actually saying, but then there's a second layer, or even more layers, that go in and that really give more of the spiritual meaning behind it, not a physical, natural, but the spiritual part of it. And you can see that in like Habakkuk 2:11, and where it talks about and the walls will cry out, and that's kind of what I think as far as like familiar spirits and stuff like that. But I think I'm starting to get all, just kind of go all over the place with this, but this is kind of just where I'm at right now. I just wanted to share this and see if anybody's been thinking about these same things. You know, I have a long way to go as far as putting it all together really coherently and figuring it all out. But I definitely do know now that the spiritual realm is way bigger and way more real and way more detailed than what we think it is, than what just the first layer of the Bible tells us as far as angels and demons. So I hope somebody got, if anything, just got like a spark of curiosity about this, and hopefully someone else can give me some comments on this, and some things that I haven't thought about that maybe will help me to kind of put all this together a little bit more better. Just want to see if there's anything last before I leave that I just didn't put. I think that's it for now. Like I said, I'm still working on this. I'm still trying to figure out all this, you know, even the super soldier stuff, all the stuff that I don't know if that, you know, like I know that there's a lot of government agencies that are going in and doing a lot of manipulation that we don't know about. So I'm sure that all ties into a lot of this angels and demons stuff. So and with a lot more like what's going on with the end times and how it's all going to play out. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you for listening to this, and have a good day. Thank you.